Hello, hello, live. Just checking there's nothing in the background. So it's been a while, and I just wanted to do a little live. Susan, and I wanted to do a little live just for kind of stress and mental health and well-being. Lead up to Christmas. I hate saying COVID, but it's still not normal. We still might have restrictions where we want to be with people in places where we cannot because of the never ending, alphabet full of different variants on this virus. So I just thought the best thing to do might be just to focus on something that will just help you from within. We can't change our external circumstances, we can't magic this away. We can work on our immune system, and that is the best way to fight any variant of anything and everything. But just to be aware of your own body and your own immune system and what's good for it and what isn't. And it's not always what you might imagine it is, but that's one thing you can do. And the other thing is just to I suppose, surrender, just to sort of stay as calm as you can and accept what's happening, and do the best that you can internally. So this is Harry, and this is Louis, and they are going to be a pair of pests throughout. So I do apologise for that. And let's just begin. Let's just stand up. Just stand with your feet around hip width apart. So no, you need to move. Hip width isn't like this. It's these bits of the pelvic bones here. Yeah, so it's just so the legs are coming straight down. Spread the toes, make your feet as big as you can. Just pull the heels back, roll the shoulders and get grounded. Just check in with the weight pushing down into the feet. Make sure that it's not too far forward, and then you can feel the pressure under the ball of the foot, or too far back, and you can feel the pressure under the heel. Get that pressure nice and even, front and back. You can move around as much as you need to find that place of equilibrium. And when we're standing at that nice balanced, everything's balanced vertically, Harry, leave it. Then we are kind of switching off any unnecessary tension in the muscles. If we lean forward, the back body is going to switch on, and that's going to create a block and a bit of tension, and it's just going to kind of lock that energy up. And it's the opposite of what we're trying to do, is just free up all that energy. So find your balance, find your equilibrium. Just take a couple of nice deep breaths, rolling the shoulders. And let them drop down. Harry, why are you obsessed with an iron? And then just come back. And we're just going to shrug the shoulders. So the active thing is inhale up, and then we just let go. Active, and then let go. Keep the knees soft. Just releasing any tension around the shoulders and the neck. Getting that blood moving around that area. So we need to get the blood flowing. If you think about stagnant water and what happens, so that's for the lack of movement, and we want all the fluids, the blood and the lymph fluid, to be moving in order to cleanse and release. And round about this area is where the thyroid is, and that's your immune system, and it's also the balance of your hormones. So we can have a bit of build up of hormones here. We just want to clear that out and refresh it all, get the blood moving. And you can go a bit faster if you want, just bouncing down and release. And then just swing the arms back and forward, palms facing in towards each other. Just release the arms. Keep the knees soft. Just keep an eye on that weight distribution in the soles of the feet. And release. And then take the hands onto the hips. You're just going to take the chin to the chest. I'm going to do semicircles round. So we're just doing half neck rolls, taking the ear over to the shoulder, and then chin all the way down to the other side in a semicircle. You can close your eyes if you want. nice and gently. So if you go to a place where it's all kind of tensing up and getting a bit much, or it goes beyond the edge of the comfort zone, then just stop and change position. You can take your shoulder up to meet your ear if you need to. You don't want anything jarring. No sharp pain. Nice stretch in the neck. No barking. That's not you, that's him. If you're watching, you can bark. I don't mind. And release. And then just shrug the shoulders again. Give the arms a little swing. This is going to be a nice gentle practice. Just focusing on the breath the whole time. And then just take the hands and keep the palms facing down. Can you see? And we're just keeping the knees soft. We're just going to stretch up one side then the other. So we're just balancing out left and right. So any lateral imbalances in the posture, any kind of scoliosis. Just keep that nicely balanced, one side and the other. And then just take both arms up. And then see if you can lift up just slightly off the heels. Just slightly. Don't need to go right up. And then stretch up the back body and pushing the heels down towards the floor, but keeping them lifted as if you're trying to just stretch from the heel all the way up the back of the leg and all the way up the torso, all the way up to the armpits, keeping the shoulders down from the ears, big stretch in the back body, and then sink the heels back down and swing the arms again. Shrug the shoulders and then take the feet wide, maybe about shoulder width. Soft knees, hips facing the front. I'm just going to spin round. So try and keep the hips facing the front and keep the knees bent. If you lock out your legs and start twisting way around in the hips, you are going to twist your knees and that's not going to help. Spinning around. So if you're quite nicely balanced, you can take your gaze down 2 meters behind on the floor. If you're feeling like you've got anything, any dizziness or any issues with that, you can gaze to the tip of the nose and just let your head follow the chest. So it's just a continuation of the spine. That's 2 options. Just let the arms go. The arms are just free from the shoulders. There's no placement of the arms. This is going to just release any tension in the lower half of the spine. Make sure that your weight is nice and even, maybe a little bit back on the heels. Just release, feel the spine just softening up, and then just come back. And again, just release the shoulders, release the legs side to side. So taking one foot down and just swing that knee side to side. Louis, stop it. I think Louis wants to go and investigate. Oh. He's a guard dog, a lasso Apso. I think his job is to guard the monastery and keep the monks warm as well. So they normally have long hair right down to the floor. So yeah, just bring the feet back to about hip width again, keeping the knees slightly soft, and we're just going to shift the weight forward onto the ball of the foot and back to neutral. So just forward and see how it's a straight line. I'm not bending. I'm keeping a straight line as I come forward. And I'm going to start letting that heel lift just a tiny bit and then back down. So we're just practicing for a lifting up off the heel. If you go straight up onto your tiptoes, it'll be a bit more difficult to balance. So just want to come back and forward, lifting the heel more and more with each breath. And forward and up and down. And once you feel quite stable coming up on the tiptoes, to whatever extent you want to or can, lift the heels, that's fine. We're going to start moving with the arms. This is really good for balancing left brain, right brain, good for mental health. So we're just going to locate your right hand. This is my right hand. So I don't know if you're seeing this in mirror or not, so I won't try and mirror you, but we just lift, inhale, and we try and synchronize the breath with the movement. The small movement of the heels lifting with the bigger movements of the arms, and just trying to synchronize that all at once. It's not easy, but start to move and inhale, lift the arms up halfway, then continue lifting the right arm all the way up. So that's an inhale. Exhale, lower the right hand down, and then both hands, and at the same time you're lowering the heels down. We're going to do the same, this time lifting the left arm all the way up. So inhale, exhale, and both arms come all the way up. Inhale, and exhale down. And we'll do a few more rounds, so it's right arm up, then left, then both. Just gazing at a point somewhere in front of you, maybe on the floor that isn't moving. And really just get that breath, the natural breath, and the movements must synchronize with the breath. Don't speed up the breath, slow down the movement. Like a moving meditation. I'll show you from the side how the heels and the arms synchronize. The big movement, the small movement, and the breath all at once. And release. Shake out. Shake out your legs. Shoulders, arms. I'm going to do a dynamic Utkatasana, fierce pose, chair pose, whatever you want to call it. So having the feet maybe 3 or 4 inches apart, or if you need to, you can take them wider. Don't want the knees coming in towards each other. We don't want them splaying out. If they come out, then just widen the feet. Just take the whole feet wide, but try and keep them parallel. Just try not to let the knees come in. If you need to, you can lift your toes, and that kind of pulls the knees out and gets everything grounded. So we're just going to do a little dynamic Utkatasana, trying not to overextend the lumbar curve. So we're just keeping that neutral, keeping that tucked as we move. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, dig, soft knees. And inhale. So you might feel the weight coming back more on the heels, that's fine. Exhale down. Inhale, straighten. Now if you've got arthritic knees or anything, and the bending and the movement in the knees isn't good for you, then just hold the position and just keep it here. You don't need to have a big bend. Just tuck the tailbone, lengthen the tailbone away from the crown as much as you can, keeping the ears away from the shoulders. So that's your options, either stay here or move. Exhale, sink. Inhale, straighten. If you want to do 5 or 10 of these. Moving with the breath. And release. Shake out those knees side to side. Release. Next one I'm going to do, just be careful if you've got any issues around the knees especially. And I'll show you what I'm going to do, and then I'll show you maybe a modification. But you need to just tune into your body, and if it says, ow, no, don't like it, then you need to stop. You need to vary or modify. So we would do the old do you know Charlie Chaplin? Charlie Chaplin feet, with the feet sticking out like this. And if you need to take the feet wider, that's fine. So if you can, come all the way down and lift the heels so you're on the balls of the feet. This might not work for you because of your toes, because of your knees, because of your ankles, because of many things. But if it does, that's fine. And as you come up, we're going to inhale. You're going to feel these muscles here, these adductor muscles really working. So inhale and push up. Exhale down. Do 5 or 10 maybe. You might hear some crunching. That was from my days at the gym back in the 80s. So, as I say, if that's too much, it's not working, you could just be here. You could hold the position here for a few breaths and then release. Start again, or you can hold it. Or just go up and down, small movements. Just making sure that your knee is not moving laterally. Yes, the knee really has to track over the feet. That's the main thing. Exhale down. Inhale up, feel the burn in here. I have no idea how many that was. Just do 5 to 10. I think that's more than 10 for me. And then just bring the legs out and give them a shake. Release the knees. Massage the feet into the mat. Release the ankles. Have a little break. Stand in Tadasana. So we're just taking the feet about hip width. Just stand here and breathe. Checking in with the body. Allowing the breath to calm down to a nice gentle equilibrium. Okay, so we're going to do a little stretch for the hip flexor. So when we get stressed, we kind of adopt that brace position, and that's a huge exaggeration. But these muscles switch on, the muscles that join the top and bottom half of the body, and kind of pull us forward. So we get this tension, tightness locked into this part here at the front of the hip flexors, psoas. So just to release that, take your weight onto the left foot and then stretch the right foot behind and see if you can rest on the top of the foot and just get the hips facing the front and feel that stretch here. Just pulling, you can take the leg further back, or you might be on the ball of the foot like this. You might not be able to stretch if the shin, for example, is tight, or you could just be on the very tip of the toes. Just feel the stretch here. Maybe even lean back a bit and feel the stretch moving up. So we talk about the psoas muscle. And if you're Googling that, it begins with a P, in case you don't know that. Psoas. And that is quite a well-known muscle for holding that tension. Trauma just gets locked in there and needs to be released. Swap sides. And if you've already got that kind of trauma, your nervous system then isn't resilient. It needs to be more resilient. So when you do get a little bad thing happening or a little setback, you don't kind of feel it like, oh my goodness, I'm in a panic. I lost that card that I bought someone. Oh, panic, help. Just to get a perspective on life or death situations and things that don't really matter that much. Nice stretch there in the front and then release. Shake out the legs. On the shoulders. So let's just take a little Tadasana, spread the toes, pull the heels back, keep the knees soft, roll the shoulders, take the hands down towards the floor. Slide the shoulders down away from the ears and then see if you can slide the ribs down towards the hips and engage the abdominals. Keep the knees soft and keep that weight distribution nice and even all around the feet. Just move around in any way you need to. So you feel that balance and that equilibrium, pushing into the soles of the feet. And take a few breaths here. And lengthening up through the crown of the head, taking the tailbone and the crown of the head as far from each other as possible. And just release. If you've got your eyes closed, open them gently. And come into some balances. So just balancing physically, mentally, emotionally. Take your foot weight onto the right foot. Keep the knee soft, don't lock it completely. And then take your left leg and just cross it over in front. And pull that knee back. Feel the stretch in the front at the groin. And then you can drop the toes down if you need to. And then drop that hip down. So the hips move this way. You want that hip to be down and that knee to be back. Feel the stretch in the groins on the left side. Torso delivery. And push it down into that foot. And if you feel stable, you can take your hands up. The tips of the fingers almost touching. If you still feel stable, you can look up towards your hands, pushing down into that right leg and into the left toes. Keep pulling the left knee back. Keep pushing the left hip down. Feel the stretch in the groin. And then gently look down, take your arms down, shake out the knees. Shake out the legs, shake out the feet. Louis, this is the parcel. Come here. And when you're done, we do the same on the other side. Left foot down, right leg across, push. The whole hip comes down, the knee comes back, pushing into the left foot, pushing into the right toes. Lifting the hands up, lifting the gaze up if you feel stable enough. I was practicing this morning and I was wobbly. I could not stand like this. So something's shifted. That's good. Keep pushing the right hip down and the right knee back. and release. Take the gaze down, take the arms down, swing, shake, release. Release the legs. We're going down a little balance. Again, stretching the groins, or the hip flexors, I should say. So again, take the weight onto the right foot. And then if you can, lift the left leg up and just hold it and just pull it in. So the heel is coming in towards the glute. So it's quite good just to balance on one mat or just a hard floor even. If you've got too much sponginess underneath, it's difficult to balance. It's like balancing on a trampoline. You can imagine how much more difficult that would be. Just stay here, and then if you feel steady, you can take the right arm up. Just keep your gaze at a point that's not moving, maybe on the floor somewhere. And either let your leg go or bring your right arm down. We're going to switch arms, so you might need to just let that leg go, or you might be able to hold it with both arms just now, both hands just now, and then switch. Feel that stretch here, just shifting slightly, still quite wobbly. Lengthening up through the spine for stability, and then down and release. Just massage your foot into the mat. Release the ankle. Release. Shake out the legs. And then switch. Take your right leg up. If you're feeling steady and stable, you can take your left arm up. Lengthening through the spine. Bring that arm down. Either hold or take the leg down and switch from the start. So now you've got your right leg in your left hand, right arm up. And release. Just release. Take the legs down. Shake out. Release the ankles, the feet, both sides. And shake out the legs. Well done. Now, Harry, okay, you can stay there. We're just going to take the feet a little bit wide again. We're going to do this palm tree posture, Taoist twist, you might call it. So feet about shoulder width, and then keeping the knees a little bit bent, keeping the hips facing the front, keep the weight even on the fronts and backs of the feet, and just let the arms go. So no placing of the arms like this. You know, it's just a big swing, free. Just like your arms are attached to the shoulders, and they're just releasing, and the whole spine is releasing, or the whole bottom half of the spine. Looking behind, if you can, or just keeping the gaze to the tip of the nose. And then gently come back in, slowly, and release. Now, just take a wide leg stance. So not too wide, just kind of comfortably wide. We're just going to fold forward, and we're going to go side to side, so it's not like a twist round like that. That's a movement in the transverse plane. We want the movement to be in the frontal plane. This is the frontal plane. So we're moving here and here, side to side. So just come down and stretch, and feel a stretch in the inside leg, on the straight leg and pushing the foot down to protect the knee. Because if you don't do that, then you're going to be bending the knee sideways, which isn't good. Just walking the hands across, exhale down, sink down as far as you can to the edge of the comfort zone. Inhale, move the arms across, bend the opposite leg and stretch the other leg. And you can widen your legs as you go. So if you feel like your ankle is stopping the movement, your heel wants to lift, take the foot wider to give your body the space it needs to go all the way down into that stretch. And then we're going to stretch down onto the right side. And if you can, if you want to, if you've got the bone structure, you can lift the heel and go into the ball of the foot and take the elbow in to the inside of the leg. And then just turn that foot, heel down, toes up. So I'm going to take this off. So I feel it's just maybe not helping to see what's going on. So make sure that you've got that leg active to protect the knee this time from being hyperextended down. Yeah? And not everybody's got bone structure to be open in the hips, so don't worry. If you can't do that, that's fine. Just go to where you can comfortably go to. If your foot's still flat, that's fine. If this foot's still down here like that, that's fine too. Just opening up to where you can. And inhale, breathing right down into the pelvic basin, releasing. So that feeling of squishing everything up to hold in the toilet is the opposite that we want to do here. And feel how that edge might just release without forcing. We're just allowing the body to keep going and allowing the edge to move. And then bend the knee slightly, just turn down onto the foot. We're going to come into a lunge. So this knee needs to just be above, around about the ankle. Can you see? Yeah, so the knee, if it's coming over past the foot, just step it forward and feel the stretch in that hip flexor here. So sink down and push some weight into that front leg. Breathing into the pelvic basin, feel the stretch right up the hip flexor. Resting on the knee and the top of the foot. And we're going to turn away in towards that knee. So I'm going to turn away from you slightly. That stretch is going to move from here to the outside. You're going to feel it move to the outside edge of the hip flexors. So I'm going to turn away slightly and just feel that stretch moving. Just breathing into it, not forcing anything, just staying with the edge. Breathing into the pelvis. And then we're just gently going to come back to the center and turn away from that leg. So we're twisting a little bit the other way. Now the stretch is moving from here into the inside towards the groin. And this is the area we really want to target to release that tension, that trauma. So we have a thing called soft trauma where we just have drip feed, drip, 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 like Chinese drip torture. 1 drop of water on your forehead is nothing, so you won't notice it happening. But if it's happening constantly, it'll bore a hole in your head. So this is what happens when we get soft trauma. Just drip feed every day, constant little tiny bits of stress. And really act in a way to give us PTSD that we just wouldn't think we could have. Because we've never been in a tsunami, but we've had that drip, 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 which is just as bad. And then just curl onto the toes, come back up gently, come to the center, shake out the legs. We're going to go down to the other side, so just release. And then come down. Remember, we came down like this first. Pushing the elbow into the knee, lifting the heel. This is all optional. Just go down until you feel a good strong stretch in that inner thigh. A good strong stretch across here. And that might make, for some people you have to go quite deep into the movement. For others, you might not have to move much at all to get that stretch. It can depend on your makeup. It will depend on how tight you are at the moment. Breathing into the pelvic basin, just filling up with space. And I'm just going to come down, bend that knee as you move into your lunge. So now we have the right foot forward and we're stretching the left hip flexor on the knee and the top of the foot. Sink, push some weight into this front foot and feel the lightness down here in the hip. Keep breathing into your pelvic basin. And then turn away towards the front leg and feel the stretch move to the outside edge. Don't hurt yourself, just go to that edge till you feel like, oh yeah, that's something's happening, I've got a bit of a kick there. And then turn the other way. Feel the stretch in the groin now, moving in. Pushing into this front leg. And then come back. And then just come back up to the starting position with the legs wide, forward bend, bend the knees, release, just move around. You can hand forward and just rest here for a few breaths, keeping the knees soft. Relax the neck. Come into as deep a stretch as you want. Pushing down strongly into the feet. And then take the hands down, lift up. Release. Start walking the feet in towards each other. And then come down into a child's pose with the knees wide. So we're going to take that stretch in the inner thigh and the groin still. Just taking the knees as wide as you need to. Maybe taking the feet apart as well, if you need to get down into that stretch, to feel the edge, and just rest here. Again, breathing into the pelvic basin, pushing the breath down into the pelvic floor to push the tension away. And then lift the head, bring the hands down. Push yourself up slowly. And then bring the knees in. And just maybe stretch the legs out. Stretch the other leg out. And then come back. And sink. Sink down onto the heels if you can. If you can't, sit like this. If you need something underneath between your heels and your thighs or your glutes, that's fine. If you want to just sit with your legs straight out or cross-legged or whatever, that's fine. You could even be on a chair. Roll the shoulders. Take a few breaths here. Right. Just going to stay here as a bit of a counter pose to these hip stretches, the external rotation in the hips, and just stay here as a neutral alignment. Release the neck and shoulders. And just check in with the breath, the body. Inhale, lengthen out through the crown of the head. And exhale the shoulders back and down, and then just come down to a cross-legged position. I'm going to put my jumper back on if I can. Harry, I know I'm such a bad mummy. I know I'm such a bad mummy. I know. I feel so guilty. I'm very guilty. Oh, look at your face. Oh no. She hasn't done that now. He hates me. Oh dear. And then just come to a cross-legged position. And again, you could be on a seat or something. You could just modify this if you need to. If you can't do cross-legged, it's fine. You can have your legs straight out or straight out in front. Just modify, sit on as many cushions, blocks, whatever it is you need. Now we're going to take we're going to take the left hand across to the right. So we don't want to bend or lean or move. We want that spine up. We're twisting. We're going to come into a twist now, gentle twist, but we want it to be authentic. So it might be that you just put your hand on your shin. So if you can, you take your left hand onto your knee and your right hand on top. But if that means you're having to lean, then you might want your hand further up the thigh or even here. And even you can take this hand behind if you feel the need for support. So whatever you're doing, just make sure that your spine stays straight. And we're going to turn over across that right knee. Inhale. Lengthen up through the spine. Exhale and pull yourself round into a twist. Try and use the muscles more than wrenching with the hands. Exhale round, look round over your right shoulder, and then inhale back to the starting position, not to the center line, to the starting position. Keep moving here. Inhale, exhale to twist. Inhale back to the start. So here's your options. You might be here or here, or even here, here. Moving slowly with the breath, slowing down the movement, not speeding up the breath. Breath will dictate the pace of the movement. Harry, sorry. That's a kriya called Vajroli. Back to the center and release the shoulders. Release. And then turn the other way. So remember, your spine has to be straight. So if you have to lean to get your hand on your knee, then you can't do it with your hand on your knee. Inhale, lengthen. So we're starting over the left knee and then we're exhaling round into that twist. Inhale back to the knee. Exhale, twist. Back to the center and release. Roll the shoulders. Release the spine, backwards and forwards, side to side. Move around in whatever way you want to. Get yourself comfortable. We're going to come back to cross-legged. So just, if you need to stretch your legs out, that's fine. If you want, you can sit on a chair for this next one. Don't worry, anything at all. Just be really super comfortable. So one of the things is, if you're in a seated position and you're trying to do something quite meditative or relaxing, if you're pulling yourself into that position and you're in tension, then there's no point, because you're just blocking the energy. Anywhere there's tension, that's blocking the energy. So you might want to roll up your mat and prop yourself up. Give yourself a raise, give yourself as many cushions, bolsters, pillows as you need. Just make sure that you're completely relaxed in your position. Don't strive to be seated cross-legged. Just stop striving anything and just be in a comfortable position. And this, I've had some really good feedback on this one for a kind of first aid for stress. If you really just need a moment to almost build a bubble around yourself, this one seems to do it for us. So you're literally just going to take your hands into your opposite armpit, drop the arms down, and you can lift your shoulders up slightly towards your ears and drop your head down and close your eyes and just stay here and breathe. Completely relaxed. If you feel tension in the shoulders, you can drop the shoulders. So if you need to do that part way through, that's fine. And just literally stay here for as long as you need to. This is a bit like a stroppy teenager. You can imagine this. I've had enough. Go away. Leave me alone. And that might be a body wisdom that we have. An inherent way of just putting up that barrier, that bubble that we need for that time, just to kind of insulate ourselves. So there is a kind of body wisdom there for sure. Maybe that's why you see this kind of stance from younger people. No offense to younger people, but once it takes till about 25 for your brain to be fully mature, and it's a challenging time developing into that. So this is what you're naturally doing. Well done. Just stay here, and then you can drop your shoulders if you need to. And just observe the natural breath. In and out through the nose if you can. Feel the touch of the breath just at the entrance of the nostrils. And when you're ready to come out, just gently start moving, open the eyes. So you can stay here in this position for longer if it's helping you right now and you're thinking, yeah, I'm liking this, that's fine. You can just go straight into that at any time. You could be in the toilet at work or something, just quickly recharging. So stay here if you want to, or come into your Shavasana or any preferred relaxation pose that you want. Take whatever last movements you feel you need. Anything you want to shake out or twist or stretch. Get layers on, get blankets, pillows. You can lie on your bed. You can take your legs up the wall. You can lie in Shavasana. We're going out in a minute. Take your feet to the corners of the mat and roll the legs open. And take the arms down about the same angle as the legs. Palms facing up, roll the shoulders. So you've got that. If you're minding your low back and you want to, you can bend your knees, take your feet wide on the mat to the edges of the mat and drop the knees in. So you're not holding your knees up. This is going to engage the groin, these muscles that we've been kind of releasing. If you hold like that, you're going to be putting tension back there. So just make sure that you're relaxing. You could have something under your knees. You can take your hands onto your body if you want, one on the belly, one on the chest. You can have your dog lying on top of you as well. It's quite nice. If you've got furniture in the room you're in, you could be bending your knees up on the sofa, on the bed, on the chair, bed, sofa, whatever. And just stay here and breathe and relax. And feel free to stay here as long as you like, as long as you need to, as long as you can. Just enjoying that nice calm. When we go into the right brain, the parasympathetic, that's the rest, digest, restore. Helps to, well, it helps the immune system, it helps the repair any minor repairs that need done. So if you're healing from an injury, helps to get rid of abnormal cells. All the systems in the body are really impaired by the stress response. So that constant drip, drip, drip just switches off everything else in the body. So we need to take time just to relax and restore. So you stay here as long as you can, as long as you feel the need, as long as you have the time and are able. We're going to take the doggies out for a walk. So thank you very much. I'm just going to end this now and leave you here. So make sure that you just stay and relax as long as you need to. Okay, thank you very much. Namaste. Om Shanti. Take care. See you later.